The transportation secretary told ABC that inflation is Biden's top economic priority, and when asked about the release of oil from strategic reserves, he said, "I don't think it's correct to say it has not made a difference at all. This is an action to help to stabilize global oil prices." Another factor affecting gas prices over the past year has been challenges in increasing production. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm told CNN last week that she had expected oil and gas companies to increase their output more than ever. Economists at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas argued that in May, production increases will not solve the problem of high gas prices. Oil and gas companies are also reluctant to make long-term investments to increase production amid an ongoing clean energy transition. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are expected to receive their summer stimulus payment in the United States government in the bid to provide citizens with a needed financial boost. This is the second round of stimulus, which is part of the Essential Employee Premium Pay Program, which was passed by the Massachusetts legislature in December 2021. The first round of premium payments saw nearly 240,000 people receive $500 checks back in March. The second round will benefit around 300,000 low-income, essential workers who should receive the same amount from the state. And the State Department of Revenue has shared that the first checks went out on June 6th. Folks, tell me what you think about this. Is President Biden doing all that it takes to send out more stimulus payments?
Let's start with the Fed and that expected rate hike later on today. Jim, this morning, B of A basically says investors are pessimistic, whether it's 50, whether it's 75, might see a brief risk on, but they say best of luck. That's their note today, best of luck.
But look, it is go big or go home. I mean, Powell has to do something big, not just to appease the critics, but because, look, we know that the good times have to signal an end. I think he wants certain industries that make less in order to be able to have not a hard landing, but a soft landing. He doesn't want them to make nothing. But David, we're at a moment when you read the research where everyone's trying to get ahead of a recession. And I saw a piece on Ulta that was positive. Remember we used to talk about like when things were really bad, there would be like a couple stocks, Tractor Supply and Ulta. Yeah. The research reads like that now. I mean, you read it and you just say, wow, it's going to be a doozy of recession. So all we're really trying to figure out is
I find a little hard to believe.
What I do, because the consumer's good, but then we look at retail sales.
Employment is still good.
Yeah.
Very strong.
Right.
I'm not hearing a doozy of a recession. Certainly there are many who believe there's at least a 50% chance we have a recession. But within that camp, many of those people would still say it's going to be fairly modest in terms of.
Well, if that's the case, then you'd buy the stock market.
Really, right now? But have we seen the revision in earnings estimates that we truly do?
Depends on the
Are multiples really reflective right now of the decline in earnings that would take place even in a modest recession?
Okay, that's a great point. And I would say Nucor pre-announces today and selling at 5 times earnings. Well, that may be wrong. That it sells at 5.
What's
Cleveland
a typical
sells
multiple?
At 2 times earnings.
2 years worth of earnings.
Well, I mean, you're looking at
maybe we should,
Ford and GM.
we should put a group together.
I did that today for tonight's.
No, I mean a group to buy it.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean like
you can buy Cleveland for just 2 years worth of earnings. I mean,
well,
come on.
I expect
in honoring our promises to address Comprehensive Toxics Act, also known as the Honoring Our Pact Act. Our nation asks a great deal of our service members and their families. We ask them to be ready to fight and to win against a wide range of security challenges across the globe. Our armed forces know and understand the threats they may face on the battlefield. Unfortunately, service members also face threats that aren't as apparent. Exposure to toxic materials. These exposures can result in rare and sometimes fatal medical conditions, from exposure to Agent Orange to radiation from nuclear tests. Veterans have carried an extra burden because of their service. It has too often been a struggle to recognize and address these impacts. Now, a new generation is dealing with the long-term effects of toxic